Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
You're scrolling through your feed when suddenly, boom, a kiss cam zooms in on a man and woman getting way too cozy at a Coldplay concert. The crowd laughs, Chris Martin cracks a joke about them having an affair, and the couple looks like they've seen a ghost. But here's the twist. That man, he's married to someone else. And not just anyone. Megan Byron, the wife of a billionaire tech CEO, sitting at home completely unaware that her entire marriage is about to be exposed in front of millions. Within minutes, the clip goes viral. And just like that, a concert turns into the internet's latest cheating scandal, with Megan at the center of it all. Megan Byron wasn't just the woman behind the man. She was the glue holding everything together. A quiet powerhouse with grace in her bones and loyalty in her DNA. While her husband, Andy Byron, was out making headlines as the flashy CEO of Astronomer, a billion-dollar tech company, Megan was at home making dinner, helping with homework, and posting heartfelt captions about how proud she was of his accomplishments. Her social media painted the picture of a woman who believed in the fairy tale. Anniversary tributes, family vacation reels, candid graduation photos of their kids, and snapshots of a marriage she clearly thought was built on trust. But while Megan was building a life around love and loyalty, Andy was building something else behind her back. A secret. And the worst part? He didn't cheat with some stranger. No, it was Kristin Cabot, his own HR director, a woman Megan likely knew by name, maybe even sat next to at company parties. That's what makes this so brutal. Megan wasn't just betrayed. She was ambushed. And to find out through a kiss cam, while sitting alone at home, watching her husband's name and face light up the internet for all the wrong reasons. That's a kind of heartbreak you can't prepare for. This wasn't just infidelity. It was humiliation,
Kiss Cam at a Coldplay concert. Charities and memes today, there are serious questions whether
All right, come on. You're okay?
Byron magazine is projecting this great talent talking about the company Kiss Cam at a Coldplay concert. Charities and memes today, there are serious questions whether
All right, come on. You're okay?
Leave the arena. Andy flinched, literally ducked behind the barrier like a guilty teenager caught sneaking out. While Kristin threw her hands to her face in a moment of sheer panic. It wasn't cute, it wasn't funny, it was visibly uncomfortable. And then Chris Martin, blissfully unaware of the unfolding disaster, leaned into the mic and made a joke that poured gasoline on the fire.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
The crowd laughed, but online, viewers were already connecting the dots. Within hours, that clip had exploded across TikTok, Twitter, Reddit. Frame-by-frame breakdowns. Side-by-side comparisons of Kristin's face with her corporate headshot. Internet sleuths digging through LinkedIn, family photos, employee directories, and what they uncovered turned a kiss cam moment into a full-blown scandal. Because this wasn't a fling, this wasn't a maybe. This was two high-level executives, both married, caught on camera in a moment of intimacy, trying and failing to act innocent. And the world was watching. If you thought the scandal couldn't get worse, oh, it does. Because Kristin Cabot isn't just some random employee at Astronomer. She's the chief people officer, the executive responsible for workplace ethics, employee well-being, and creating a culture of trust and accountability. In other words, her job is to prevent inappropriate relationships, not be the center of one. The hypocrisy? Astronomical. While Kristin was rolling out HR memos about integrity and respect in the workplace, she was sneaking around with the CEO. This wasn't just a lapse in judgment, it was a full-on demolition of the values she was paid to uphold.
Look at these two.
And let's be clear, this wasn't speculation. Internet detectives lined up the receipts. Kristin joined the company in November 2024. She was married, with kids. So was Andy. The timelines overlapped. The photos matched. The just friends narrative crumbled fast. And suddenly, it wasn't just Andy's betrayal we were talking about. It was a systemic failure disguised as romance. When people found out who Kristin really was, the outrage shifted into overdrive. This wasn't just messy, it was grossly irresponsible. And people weren't just mad at the affair, they were mad at the audacity. While the internet tore Andy and Kristin to shreds, Megan said, nothing. No interviews, no cryptic captions, no viral TikToks, just silence. And that silence? It was deafening. One day, eagle-eyed followers noticed that she'd quietly updated her social media profiles. Byron was gone. She had dropped her husband's last name, the same name she'd carried for years, and returned to simply Carrion. No dramatic post, no explanation, just a subtle, calculated erasure of the man who betrayed her, like she was reclaiming her identity one syllable at a time. It was the kind of move that doesn't scream. It stings. And fans noticed. The comments poured in. "We see you, Queen." Erasing him like he was never there. This is the kind of silent revenge I live for. Megan didn't have to clap back. Her composure did it for her. While Andy was scrambling to disable comments and Kristin all but vanished from the internet, Megan stood tall in her absence. She didn't beg for sympathy. She didn't play into the chaos. She simply detached, recentered, and began rewriting her story, without him. But beneath all the headlines, memes, and viral stitches, there's one part of this story that hits harder than any internet comment: the kids. Andy and Megan aren't just a power couple gone sour, they're parents. And now, their children, who did nothing wrong, have to live with the fallout of their father's betrayal being broadcast to millions. These aren't toddlers who'll forget. They're school-aged, old enough to read the comments, old enough to hear the whispers in the hallway, old enough to understand what went down. Imagine walking into school the morning after your dad is exposed for cheating, not in a private scandal, but on a jumbo screen at a concert, with your last name trending on Twitter. While Andy was busy ducking behind a barrier, what he really ducked was responsibility. He didn't just ruin a marriage, he humiliated his family. He weaponized his own ego against the people who loved him most. And yet, even in the face of all that, Megan's priority wasn't image control or revenge. It was shielding her children from the digital wildfire. She removed herself from the spotlight, cleaned up her online presence, and began creating distance between them and the chaos. Not because it would make the headlines go away, but because that's what real mothers do. They hold steady while everything else burns. In a world full of scandals, this one hit differently. Not because a CEO cheated, but because a woman like Megan Byron was dragged into it without ever asking to be part of the show. She didn't chase fame, she didn't exploit the moment, and she certainly didn't deserve the betrayal that unfolded under stadium lights. But in the face of public humiliation, Megan gave the world something rare: quiet strength. She didn't lash out. She didn't spiral. She took her name back, protected her kids, and let the internet do what it does best: choose a side. And this time, it chose hers. So now the question isn't whether Andy Byron should be ashamed. We know he should be. The real question is, should Megan take him for everything he's worth? Because if loyalty, motherhood, and dignity have a dollar value, Andy better start writing checks. Drop your support for Megan in the comments. And if you're here for justice, dignity, and women who walk away with their heads high and heels higher, hit that subscribe button. Because around here, we don't root for cheaters. We root for comebacks.